Sehr gut. Sehr gut.
I'm a time traveler from the year 2025, and I've come here to kill you, Hitler.
Oh, not again. I'm never gonna have enough time to finish these paintings with all of these time travelers trying to kill me.
Well, I'm going to succeed.
Before you pull the trigger, can I just ask why? Why do all of you people want to kill me?
Isn't it obvious? I'm a progressive, a liberal, a fighter for social justice. And you are a fascist who implemented a reign of terror. And while the effects of your policies devastated the world for decades, soon we will be able to take back the White House, and we will be able to use the government to force people to follow our great ideas.
You want to use government power to force your ideas on the populace. Me too! That's fantastic!
What? No. Ugh. You and I have nothing in common. What I'm saying is there are people in our time with dangerous ideas, and we need to silence them.
Silencing those who disagree with you. I do that too! Oh, wunderbar! Oh, the Nazi movement will not die with me.
Don't give me that! I'm enlightened, and you're as bad as... well, as Hitler. Listen, what I'm trying to say is we are very close to implementing a utopia, as long as we can get rid of some certain undesirable people groups.
Yes, like the Jews.
Yes, like the Jews. Oh.
So, in the future, you also do not like the Jews?
Well, no. But we don't believe in segregating all the races like you do. I mean, except for, like, graduation ceremonies. In dorms. And hiring practices. Oh, and admissions policies. That sort of thing.
I, too, am a fan of the segregation. I'm sorry, I have to ask, is this a real firearm or is this some kind of toy for kinder?
It's a flare gun. I'm trying not to support America's toxic gun culture. I'm a firm believer in gun control.
Gun control! This was one of my ideas, too. Ban them from the undesirables. Yes, look here. Oh, and your shirt. This is an organization founded by Margaret Sanger. Yes?
Wait, you know about Margaret Sanger?
Jawohl, of course. Oh, she's such a lovely person.
No. She's a fighter for reproductive rights, for women's empowerment,
and the eradication of undesirable populations by means of eugenics. Brilliant lady, very inspiring. I must use some of her ideas in our socialized healthcare system.
Socialized healthcare? That's not your thing. That's our thing.
No, it's very much my thing. Did you know that Nazi means National Socialist German Workers' Party? Nazi is just more catchy. Nazi. Just rolls off the tongue.
No. This can't be true. This has to be some sort of mistake. We are nothing alike. You're Adolf Hitler, evil right-wing fascist dictator, and I'm a feminist restorative justice advocate. And a vegetarian.
You're a vegetarian? Me too!
Okay, I am so confused right now. I came here with a clear goal in mind to kill the most evil man to have ever lived. Besides Ronald Reagan. But now that I'm meeting you in person, you're not at all what I thought you were. And your painting is actually really good. What do you call it?
I call it Ein Reich ohne Juden.
Wow. I don't know what that means, but it sounds beautiful.
It does, doesn't it?
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the program. Will you please give me the finger? Will you raise that finger? Share this program. Like this program, thumbs up this program, etc. Comment. Put a comment. If you're on Twitter, just comment anything. Hey dude, hey jerk, hey whatever. Comment, right? That's how the program grows. That's how the word gets out. People have to comment on it, like it, share it, etc. You're going to want to share this one we're going to be talking about some topics that I think may surprise you. Little initial heads up. Immediately following this program, remember I've been scrambling getting 2 new books done, which are about to release. And so I had to pause momentarily. Now we're going to get back to my multi-part series on the history of Islam. We're going to cover the history of Islamic rape culture. This one may shock you. When you, just one little tidbit behind us, you actually find out the meaning behind some of it and why it's done. I do that over at my locals, right? And so you can find me there at jovanhuttonpulitzer.locals.com. Watch the closing credits of the program, and you'll get a live link to jump over. But this particular installment is the history of Islamic rape culture. And yes, there is a rape culture. Today's program is brought to you by the fine folks at Goldco. Would you please request your free gold and silver kit today? Just go to jovanlovesgold.com. This is why I partnered with Goldco. They're the best. Now is the time to protect your money with gold and silver. You have to understand what's going on. You have to take this seriously. They're going to switch over to digital currency. You're going to want to have some physical currency in your pocket. It's not about switching everything, folks. It's just about literally covering your ass. It's that simple. Please go to jovanlovesgold.com. Request your free gold and silver kit today, because now is the time to protect your money with gold and silver. Some crappy stuff we're going to talk about in this particular program. And yes, it's crappy, but it's something that you need to know. Share this program right now, because we're going to talk about USAID and the topic of how about prison sentences for homeschooling your children. It just happened. Going to prison for homeschooling your children. It's very real. Share this right now. We'll get started right after this.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. I know the problem, you've got just one policy. You do the opposite of what the Donald does. Don't know what you believe just because you got that TDS. You've tested positive. There's nothing I can do for chronic low IQ. It's TDS. Open the borders, let my Donnie pick your pocket. Let the boys beat the girls, they got that extra rocket. A theology degree from Starbucks. You declare that America sucks. You got that TDS. You tested positive. There's nothing I can do for chronic low IQ. It's TDS. If you're red, alright, let's get this party started. If you're left, you're blue and probably retarded. Like Rosie, De Niro, Jimmy Kimmel, Kathy Griffin. No kings, no kidding, we don't live in Great Britain. If J6 was the worst thing you've ever seen, Soros, burning Sadie's a mostly peaceful thing. Bring back the cartels, commute their crimes, sack the fact checkers like the New York Times. He's a Nazi, a fascist, a racist dictator who lets you say what you want to say.
Luke, I am your daddy.
You got that TDS. You tested positive. There's nothing I can do for chronic low IQ. It's TDS. No matter what he says, you must be really dumb, 'cause you keep blaming Trump for your problems.
Side effects of Trump derangement syndrome may include violent behavior, delusions, nightmares, and anxiety, depression, blue hair, tantrums, inability to form coherent speech, difficulty maintaining gainful employment, and verbal diarrhea.
There's no cure in sight.
Here's what is inside the pharmacy. Grow Soil Bible. Beautiful gardens, bountiful harvests, and homesteading abundant black gold. For too long, modern agriculture has poisoned the very ground beneath our feet. Synthetic NPK fertilizers delivered bigger yields at a devastating cost. They wiped out the teeming microbial life that once made soil rich, alive, and endlessly productive, trapping us in a cycle of chemical dependence and dying farmland. Now is the time to fight back. The Grow Soil Bible takes you on a powerful journey back to the ancient wisdom that created the world's most fertile soils. Discover the secrets of Amazonian terra preta, also called black gold, born from biochar, fish bones, compost, and microbial magic. Master the art of Chinese green tea composting and Japanese bokashi to transform kitchen scraps and yard waste into living, breathing super soil. Whether you're a backyard gardener, passionate homesteader, or family determined to build real food security, this book gives you everything you need. Step-by-step instructions, precise natural ingredients lists, and proven techniques to grow your own ultra-fertile dirt instead of buying dead bags from the store. Become a true dirt farmer. Revive the microorganisms that power life. Break free from synthetic slavery and slow chemical suicide and create abundant, nutrient-dense harvests that feed your family for generations. Your garden, your orchard, your future. It all starts with the soil. Reclaim the earth. Grow your own black gold.
Warning. The following program has been rated Gilligaff and is intended for open-minded audiences. If the truth offends you, or if you are allergic to focused intensity, intellectual athleticism, or the occasional F-bomb or even irreverent humor, please switch off now. If your delicate sensibilities need to be worried about or addressed, might we recommend the Underwater Basket Weaving channel to you? Otherwise, sit back, enjoy the wisdom, insight, and wicked sense of humor.
Cut the crap. How many times a day do you want to say that to politicians, the elite, the loony liberals, the fake news media, and the gender-confused, emotional socialist snowflake crowd? Cut the crap is your secret weapon for fighting for our freedoms and our great republic. It all begins with a massive mental enema, freeing you from the toxic news and politically correct views, which constipate your consciousness with stinking thinking. Your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer. He's known for calling out politicians and telling them to cut the crap. You've seen him on virtually every television network and listened to him on Coast to Coast Radio. And now he's here to help you learn to fight for America. Culture, race, and American politics. They all have one thing in common. They all need to cut the crap. Now, here's your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer.
Okay, guys, we're going to talk about USAID from the American people, the waste of USAID, and prison sentences for homeschooling your children. That's a serious one. Speaking of waste, I had a farm errand to do the other day, and you know, you don't want to just like burn old paint and stuff like this. There's a lot of rebuilding in the family stuff that got destroyed in the hurricane. Everybody's still working on it, but there's a lot of tar cans. When you put fence posts back in the mountains and stuff, and in the bottomlands, because we're both, you basically take your post and you cover them with tar, and then you put them in the ground just to make them last longer. It's just a procedure you do to make sure they get very well taken care of, right? But you don't want to just dump those things and bury them. There's toxic. So there's toxic throwaway places. But true story. I by look of the draw, had to take the farm truck and go to the dump where you dump the hazardous waste. I get there, I'm putting the stuff where it goes, and out of the corner of my eye, spotted this blonde woman. She's kind of giving me the side eye, if you know what I mean. And I thought, oh shit, somebody recognizes me. And then I noticed she was kind of looking at me kind of like slow-eyed, you know, kind of like, what's her name, Sydney Sweeney, kind of like come hither thing. I have to admit it, right? Woman look at me kind of sideways, kind of come hither. I think she wanted me to check her out. Problem is, when I got up close to her, I saw what she really was, and it wasn't what I was expecting. Although I can tell you, absolutely, she identified quickly as she was a trashy woman. But yes, I ran into a trashy blonde at the dump. I got to tell you just honestly, I must be healing because I could immediately recognize a trashy blonde and I didn't engage her and I totally walked away. I'm actually so proud of myself, right? Something told me she might be special though. I think she probably doesn't talk back, probably doesn't nag, right? Whatever you want to do goes. But I got to tell you, I'm proud of myself. I totally walked away from this trashy blonde. True story. Absolutely true story. Speaking of trash and trashy blondes and all this other stuff, this USAID stuff we're going to get into, you'll see the reports. I'll share links with you. I want to show you what that money pays for. You know that Mondami, right? New York City. I can't imagine a radical Islamist running New York City. Here's one of his people. And this person, right? This person, Daraliza Avila Chevalier. She won the Democrat primary in New York's 13th congressional district. She was endorsed by Mondami. Somebody who wears a mask that says defund police. Somebody who openly wears a hijab and talks violent anti-U.S. rhetoric, and then thinks it's cute when she posts something like, I forgot my nap, and so I just wiped my hand on the American flag behind me. This is potentially an elected official in New York City. If you don't think this is coming, and if you don't think this is orchestrated, and if you don't think that this is to hold up and transform our lives, you're not paying attention. And I'm telling you, this stuff is disgusting. And that's why they say stuff like, we got to count all votes. No, you got to count all legal votes. It's absolutely freaking disgusting. Let's talk about this USAID funding, right? The White House has released a documented list of expenditures to kind of detail how bad the waste is. I put some of it on my screen so you can see it. $1.5 million for advanced diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workspaces and business communities. Seriously? $70,000 for a diversity, equity, and inclusion play musical in Ireland. $2.5 million for electronic vehicles in Vietnam. $47,000 for a transgender operation in Colombia. Yeah, somebody got an addictomy procedure. $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru. $2 million for sex changes and LGBT activism in Guatemala. $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt. Hundreds of thousands of dollars for nonprofits linked, you can read it all, to designated terrorist organizations even after, right now, even after this investigation had been launched into where does this money go? Millions to the Eco Health Alliance. That's, it sounds good. Eco Health Alliance. How about that? It was involved in the research at the Wuhan lab. Hundreds of thousands of meals that went to Al Qaeda affiliated fighters in Syria. What? Well, even terrorists have to eat, right? Funding to print personalized contraceptive birth control devices in developing countries. Now, I don't know what that means. Does that mean you put your name on the condom? Is that a personalized device, or are they scanning women's uterus to make that little clip that goes in and it's scanned to fit whatever? I don't know. This is some of the weird stuff. I mean, how would you even account for this, right? Hundreds of millions of dollars to fund irrigation canals, farming equipment, fertilizer used to support poppy and heroin production in Afghanistan. Well, it's farming. It was farming dollars. You didn't say what they couldn't grow. This is our own government, folks. This is where they weaponized money against us. You're also finding out that this is where the money came from most of these protests that got out of control. You're finding out one of the single largest grants in this was our government paying money for George Soros's agenda. Now, I told you this 6 years ago. I told you they're always going to give you somebody evil to hate. And that evil person, George Soros, does not give a rat's ass, because that's how they make their money. It's like playing a bad character. And that way you hate on that character all the time. We got to get rid of George Soros this. And I said, you're going to find out, and I told you this 6 years ago, and I've told you every year since, you're going to find out that George Soros was nothing but a puppet, and it was our damn money and our government doing it. Well, it's true. Federal grants that went to George Soros to support activism, riots, etc., and then they would secondarily wash the grants as well. They would go to this thing called the Tides Center, TIDS, the Tide Center, and they would try to hide a certain amount of it by going to the Tide Center, and the Tide Center would pledge to hide it, and they'd send it back out. Again, all flowing to Soros's organizations. They were anonymous, or thought they were anonymous. Our government, our officials, our people inside the government, just like that weasel that I just showed you in Mondami's stuff, we have actively been paying for decades to fundamentally change America. And damn it, did that fundamental change come? Yes, it did, because everything got weaponized against us. It looks like this Tides Center might have washed, so it couldn't really tell who was involved in it. $800 million just in 2023 alone. We, as we try to have a great, wonderful constitutional republic, and we donate to the system, and they take our taxes more and more and more, we're absolutely funding George Soros. We're talking things like $25.8 million to fund this pro-Palestinian causes in the United States of America, to get kids and activists to do this stuff, right? Israel's bad. There's the money. People are saying what they get paid to do. The 9/11 fund, which, by the way, from some interesting thing, the 9/11 fund originally, it shows that it became the Democratic Justice Fund. And that fund for 9/11 was paying for Palestinians' legal work and stuff to come here to the U.S. and take over, while at the same time funding anti-Israel protesters. This is why you see crap out there where people regurgitate that Israel attacked 9/11. It was really an Israel job. You idiots. That's a whole crafted backstory, starting with America's most worst trauma ever, 9/11. I was personally affected by it, to convince you it was Israel. And because you don't do any homework and it depends on who it comes from, you just regurgitate it. Time and time and time and time, you see millions, 3.5 million, just to protest Trump's deportation orders. Now, I want you to recognize the common theme here, if you will. And this applies in our life too, trying to fight the good fight, you're either for America or you're against America, right? You've got to be seen. You've got to be ever present, because if it's not seen, it's not talked about, it's ignored. It's like it doesn't happen. It's true on the left. It's true on the right. They weaponized taking a few people protesting, screaming horrible things. They amplified it because they knew the media would take off with it and take sound bites and make everybody look like idiots and make a protester of 20 people look like 20,000 people. That's how they did that unholy trinity: government, media, academia. But the same thing on our side. If you don't talk about it, if you don't get involved, if you don't fight, it's not seen, and therefore it doesn't happen. They learned to weaponize that against us here in the United States of America. They literally have organizations set up where they got our money from USAID to fund like the People Fund or the Transforming Power Fund. Everything is dark money to move us around like puppets and to create touch points in news that make it look like we are the white supremacists, the colonializers, the warmongers, the transphobic, the Islamophobic, etc. While they cloak under county peace action, can't we just all get along, etc.? This is what lawmakers are fighting against. And I'm going to kind of go back in time, and I'm going to share something with you. I told you when it happened. You probably should go refresh yourself on it. When Liz Harris in Arizona, the great Liz Harris, exposed the mortgage racket, right? Basically, if you were to look at lawmakers, now we're all fighting for election integrity, and there's no integrity in elections, so it's the most ironic use of words in the world, right? BS. And we're fighting to get all the information out. Look how much money they deployed against not telling you what really happened in the Arizona audit and that all the votes were created later, right? They don't want to tell you that. They hid it. Well, when this thing came out about, you got a weird trend among these lawmakers. All of a sudden, they've got a $500,000 house. They got a loan for it, and somewhere it just gets paid off. And then like 30 days later or 60 or 90 days later, they go get a new loan to refinance the house and pull the money back out again. And then somehow that gets paid off. Do you remember that? I told you back then when Liz exposed it, and Mark Fincham, rat bastard that he is, triple rat bastard that he is, set up Liz on that. Now, the reason I'm telling you about that is it could have been handled better, more importantly, but they tried to discredit it so nobody would pay attention to it. So if you look at what Fincham then did, trying to mock Liz Harris, etc., make it look like it was stupid, that's to discredit it so you won't pay attention to the truth. However, those lawmakers, as we're fighting through all this audit, within 2 weeks, both sides together passed a law that you could not see mortgage records of the elected officials or government workers. Now, why would they do that if everything was fine? It's because they were hiding it. You know who has just been documented up in this, doing this exact same pattern? Gavin Newsom and his wife and a big house. I said it then. Liz Harris did a phenomenal job for America. When that got exposed, it could have been handled better, should have been handled better, but it's valid. And I do think that's one of the underlying mechanisms of moving money to lawmakers, right? Just moving money. It makes it look like they're just doing their own kind of refinancing with their own assets. And it's not. Somebody's paying that the first time. And then they just keep on doing it, recycling and doing it. But Newsom, look it up. You'll see it. They're all doing the same recycled crap. I tell you this because it's all organized networks behind the scene. It's all organized against us. It's a pipeline of money and funds that eventually gets lawmakers trapped. And when it happens, I think a lot of them get in nefariously. Many of them buy into it. But I think you're seeing this pattern. One recent article came out from questioning of a Bill Gates and his relationship to Epstein. And I told you this over 6 years ago. I told you Epstein's job was getting people in a compromised position, blackmailing them, and that's how he operated. Well, it's now coming out that that's what he was doing with Bill Gates. That's exactly how it happened. They even generated bullshit emails or whatever, threatening to expose them for infidelity and all this other stuff he actually did. But it was written kind of craftily where they were closing in on him. And then Epstein evidently said, well, you know, there's expenses to keeping this quiet. We can do it and stuff, but we need you to pay this. And that's where the money extortion coming in. Same racket. All about compromising, right? All about compromising. But through all of that, when Epstein's assistant said, well, I really realized he was a rat bastard and I hated working for him, the only thing the news can talk about is she generated 2 different calls between Epstein and Trump. Yes, assistant says she generated calls for Trump and Epstein. It was twice, and it was literally to say, I kind of want nothing to do with you. And they don't talk about the years and years that Trump cut him off and just refused to talk to him. But that's the news that leads. And because it's all a con. It's all a con. Now, in looking in this memo that's being released, I encourage you to check out this USAID stuff. And I could just keep on listing them on and on and on and on and on. It's ridiculous. This is the way the money is being pushed through the system. It is all to destroy us. Some of the things you're going to find in it to get out this story of Israel's evil, Netanyahu's evil, Israel or Israel's colonius doesn't has a right to exist. Check out this name, the PEF Israel Endowment Fund, or the Jewish Community Fund. How about this? $920 million to attack Netanyahu and to bring down the Abraham Accords and to make you think Israel is bad and protest against Israel. $920+ million. That's why I keep on telling you it was a con. We paid for this through our own government. That one thing, if you really, really read these documents and you start seeing this and you see the whole underground network, $920 million to do things. Discredit Netanyahu and tell the world that Netanyahu and Israel are bad. Look at how many bullshit broadcasters bought into that. Now, that's $920 million in cash of our money filtered through this USAID stuff. Now think about how many people amplified that mess. Sinners of gods of Satan. Yeah, I'm a tech CEO. I infiltrated Antifa, and it's the Jewish people in the synagogue of Satan. Besides the one they're getting paid to do it, think about the millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars exposure on top of that money. That's why I told you that's the psychological racket of how it works. And whether you like it or not, when you click and share that bullshit, you're funding it. Because you can't stand in your beliefs. I don't believe this. This is bullshit. And you stick to your beliefs. That click war for that thing, $920 million. And all the time, USAID, as our government is fighting terrorists, USAID, through all these little shelter organizations are funding the terrorist. $164 million of grants that USAID did, that 122 million of the 164 million, those guys had to put something in their pockets, went directly to fund terror. We were propping them up. We were doing this, and this is the racket, and this is why lawmakers fought so hard to keep this instated. I'm giving an example. If you look at one quote-unquote legit-looking nonprofit with a incredible, wonderful name of whatever, let me see what that name was, the Middle East Forum, they get a $164 million grant for peace. $62 million of it actually stays with them. That's their handling fees. And $122 million of it went to the terrorist. And that's the racket. That was the fundamental change that the Obama administration promised us and did. And that's why I told you what changed was the use of nonprofits, the money, and the laundering. Now, when you think of all this influence, can you imagine that here comes the pandemic? You see all the writing on the wall that everything's going to hell in a handbasket. And you decide to pull your daughters out of school, protect them, and homeschool them. You figure out it's working great and it's thriving, and you keep doing it. And the government sends you to prison for it. Yes. That's happened. It's coming here. I'm going to give you the details. Be right back.
Rennie Good was a gifted soul, a writer and a poet and a mother. Wow, she tried to hit an agent with her car. Oh no, pop motherfucker, now she's gone. Yeah. Being a fucking liberal is a mental disease. Blue-haired fuckables with the septum ring. You are not a hero, you're a fucking disease. You fuck around and find out it's what it is. Jeffrey Pretty was a Jewish homo. Started talking shit to protect a chomo.
Okay, we're going to move to the second half. I'm going to talk about prison sentences for homeschooling children. And yes, just so you understand, I'm part of these non-governmental organizations, NGOs, nonprofits and stuff. This was the agenda to demonize homeschooling. Do you happen to know, before I get into the story, what countries have made it illegal for parents to homeschool their children? Did you know there are countries? Now, I want you to think about one thing. When I name the countries, I want you to think about their current status of what's happening, being overrun by illegals, etc., right? Overrun by all this other stuff. And by the way, thanks every one of you who support our full forensic audit. We still have to get there. We do have a ways to go. We still have to get there. And you're going to find out in the midterms. You saw it in California, folks. You know it's people, paper, and programs. That paper is of what we did in the full forensic audit in Arizona is the most important historical documents, I believe, outside of Declaration of Independence and other stuff. It shows really what happened in American elections and why they did it. So any and all support is appreciated. We still have to get to the end game. We're very close. Someone bless us, yes. But we've got to get to the end game. That's key. We can't give up now, and we can't think it's automatically done. And you just watched it happen in Arizona. So here's my pop quiz for you. Do you know what countries have outlawed homeschooling? More importantly, as I read these to you, I want you to think about the countries. The number one country that made it a criminal act to homeschool your children is Germany. That's right, Germany. Now, of course, I'm German. I'm first generation American. This actually came through in 1919, the Weimar Republic and other stuff, and it is what helped Hitler come to power, but now it's gone the other direction. It's illegal. The baseline rule in why it's illegal is because it can create parallel societies. Now, what are parallel societies? You ever heard that before? A parallel society is basically where people gather or get together en masse and they refuse to accept what the government is saying has to be the case. The government has basically said, if you don't share our same values, you are a criminal. And that the state has the right to integrate your children. And if you interfere with that, not only are you a criminal, but society outweighs your parental rights. It's actually called a parallel society's view, because what they say is, if you're teaching your children your belief systems, your religious, right, and your ethics, then you are dangerously isolating your children. Because your children are missing exposure to diverse peers. And if they're not exposed to diverse peers, then they are weaker intellectually and weaker in social skills, and they are technically just an echo chamber. Therefore, they cannot function in the way we say society must be. I want you to think about that. They basically say if you're homeschooling your children, you can't say you're shielding them from LBGTQXRPS or TONMQB plus 2 by divided square fractal polynomial degree systems. You no longer have a right to do that. Now the government, and this case came down, it's been done. Now the government has now saying you must submit to state indoctrination. You must do exactly what the state says. Now, Germany leads the way. Sweden's next. You can track what happened to Sweden to them basically banning homeschooling in 2010. Only if your child's deathly sick. And they refuse to accept religious or philosophical reasons to do it. You cannot do that. The Netherlands, same thing. Look at these countries that are losing their identities. Same thing. Albania, Andorra, Belarus, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Bulgaria, Croatia, Cyprus, Greece, Hungary, Latvia, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Malta, Montenegro, North Macedonia, San Marino, Serbia, and Spain. Same thing in Brazil. Same thing in Armenia. Same thing in Azerbaijan, Georgia, Turkey, Sierra Leone, etc. You can not take responsibility for educating your own kids, even though that's how the entire world and civilized world evolved. We don't even build anywhere near as great as we used to build. Well, here's the family. You see dad in the center there and mom. They are now effectively in prison. What is the crime? Now, first, let me tell you about mom, okay? Mom is an academic. These two parents were convicted. Get ready to this. These two parents were convicted for the crime, first time it's ever happened, for the crime of intellectual neglect. And what was the sub-definition of the crime? That they failed to include state-approved curriculum for gender and sex education, tolerance, and diversity. Their precious daughters, 15 and 11, that's when they did it. This has been going on for a while. They've tried to throw them under the jail, and that's kind of what's happened. This couple has been sentenced to the crime, well, of intellectual neglect for allegedly failing to include state-approved curriculum elements such as gender and sex education, tolerance, and diversity. Yes, little boys, if they cut off their wanker and throw the sausage away and feed it to the dogs, well, they're instantly a girl. Well, if that girl doesn't grow any boobies, she's instantly a boy. They're not going to teach that crap to their daughters. They're against it. They've been convicted. The judge actually ruled on this. The judge knew this was happening because the girls actually disliked certain types of music that were popular in inner cities. And therefore, that proved, because they disliked that music, because the kids disliked that music. By the way, they play classical piano. They're multilingual, etc. But because when interviewed, they disliked certain types of music, the judge said, well, that proves. See, they lack culture, diversity, and education. That was part of the proof. The courts basically said, you are using your daughters as pawns in an ideological struggle, and you are subjecting them to unregulated education that excluded state involvement. Now, we know people homeschool because they don't want the state stuff. The problem is, this has now been prosecuted. Granted, it is in Brazil. It's called the Donardi case. the mom holds a high degree, advanced degree in mathematics and pedagogy. Pedagogy basically means teaching and education. It's the study of teaching and education. And they basically said the parents weren't certified and are not qualified. The daughter's academic performance is off the charts. Super high performance. They're multilingual. They have advanced subjects like Latin and piano. They read each about 30 books a year. Even the independent psychologist they subjected the family to says, man, these are some incredible kids. But all the government could do is say, well, they don't like this type of music in this culture, and they don't like this type of gang thuggery and stuff, and that means they're not cultured, and that means they're biased and bigoted, and therefore your curriculum, and because we demand state-mandated gender and diversity, and that's more important than the parents' actual ability or inability to teach, they got a conviction. Now, this is Brazil. By the way, Germany and those other countries I mentioned are even stricter. But this is a case that has been pushed through. This is what you get in what's called a liberal multicultural model. This is where the state 100% ensures minimum shared values. And this is how they combat what we do every day is participate in parallel society. We just don't buy this stuff. It's now got a case behind it. Now that it has a case behind it, this will become even worse because now you've got the case law and you've got the ruling, and you always need the precedents. When in fact, the state wants to use our own children as pawns for the state agenda, they convicted the parents saying, no, these are my pawns, not your pawns. This family decided to teach personal values. Even the psychologist that interviewed the parents and the kids recommended there was no neglect here. This should be thrown out and acquitted. The courts ignored it and prosecuted it under criminal law. I bring this to your attention because I can foresee this is going to be a home front battle coming in, especially if we lose the midterms and they take the White House again. With all the cleaning up that President Trump did in cleaning out all that DEI stuff and getting rid of it, they don't want to lose their hold on children. They want to control what the children see and hear. And oh, by the way, this is why I had to get that one book finished, The Gollum Effect, Precious Pixels, Deadly Devices, and how the digital societal era, social era is creating killer kids. They now know with the echo chambers they've got going and when these devices, they literally can change a child's way of thinking and coping. And they need it to go hand in hand with the state-approved agenda. I'm asking you to kind of pay attention to this one because I foresee now that this has a ruling with it, now you're going to see UN, WF, and others take up this clause. Now you see Europe in many ways and the UK falling, this is going to become the new global standard because they know they need to control our kids. And this is a disaster. And it's a disaster you have to be aware of. I'm headed over to locals now. In the closing credits, you will see a link, and I'm going to talk about the history of Islamic rape culture. Where does it come from? And one simple thing that you identify with the women of Islam culture, why is it there? It's going to be an interesting lesson. Please join me. Watch for the link. I love you, and I appreciate you all.
Rennie Good was a gifted soul, a writer and a poet and a mother, wow. She tried to hit an agent with her car, oh no! Pop, motherfucker, now she's gone! Yeah! Being a fucking liberal is a mental disease. Blue-haired and fuckables with the septum ring. You are not a hero, you're a fucking disease! You fuck around and find out it's what it is! Jeffrey Pretty was a Jewish homo. Started talking shit to protect a chomo. He was getting nicked when he pulled a gun. Bam, motherfucker, now you're gone! Being a fucking liberal is a mental disease. Blue-haired and fuckables with a septum ring. You are not a hero, you're a fucking disease. Fuck around and find out what that is.
Never give up. In the late 1990s, one man dared to dream bigger than the world was ready for. He saw the internet, then mostly words and hidden IP addresses, and asked a radical question. What if every barcode on every product could instantly connect you to a website? Scan Commerce was born. He and his team manually linked millions of books, records, tapes, and consumer products to the web. Their vision? Simply scan the code and, boom, you're on the site. The problem? Only 6% of the world had internet. No camera phones. No smartphones. So he invented the QCat, a device that literally gave computers eyes. People mocked it. They ridiculed it. Mark Cuban called it the worst invention ever. But the numbers didn't lie. QCat and Q-codes became the fastest adopted computer peripheral in history, to reach 10% U.S. market penetration. Telephones, 25 years. Electricity, 30 years. Radio, 7 years. TV, 11 years. Internet, 9 years. QCat did it in just 30 days. It hit 1 million users in 30 days and 2.4 million in 60 days, faster than Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or Airbnb ever dreamed of. Then disaster struck. The dot-com crash. 9/11. Markets froze. Capital died. The dream looked dead. But the inventor? He refused to quit. Jovan Hutton Pulitzer kept fighting. He nurtured those patents through the storm. He ignored the haters, the doubters, and the crash. Today, that dumb idea is the global standard and one of the most successful patent portfolios of the internet age. It's built into 21 billion mobile and wireless devices worldwide. It powers 2.7 billion scans every single day, over 1 trillion scans a year. And these scans, from one rogue idea, generate over $15 billion annually. The crazy dream that everyone laughed at now connects the world. That is the power of never giving up. It doesn't matter if they call your idea stupid. It doesn't matter if the market crashes. It doesn't matter if the world tries to bury you. What matters is that you refuse to stay buried. Your dream might be ridiculed today, but if you nurture it, protect it, and fight for it, it just might change the world tomorrow. So chase that dream. Take the shots. Fall down 7 times. Get up 8. because the only thing standing between you and history is the decision to never give up. Now go build it. The world is waiting.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. I know the problem, you've got just one policy. You do the opposite of what the Donald does. Don't know what you believe just because you got that TDS. You've tested positive. There's nothing I can do for chronic low IQ. It's TDS. Open the borders, let Mom Donnie pick your pocket. Let the boys beat the girls, they got that extra rocket. A theology degree from Starbucks. You declare that America sucks. You got that TDS. You've tested positive. There's nothing I can do for chronic low IQ. It's TDS. If you're red, alright, let's get this party started. If you're left, you're blue and probably retarded. Like Rosie, De Niro, Jimmy Kimmel, Kathy Griffin. No kings, no kidding, we don't live in Great Britain. If J6 was the worst thing you've ever seen, Soros, burning Sadie's a mostly peaceful thing. Bring back the cartels, commute their crimes, sack the fact checkers like the New York Times. He's a Nazi, a fascist, a racist dictator who lets you say what you wanna say.
Luke, I am your daddy.
You got that TDS. You've tested positive. There's nothing I can do for chronic low IQ. It's TDS. No matter what he says, you must be really dumb, 'cause you keep blaming Trump for all your problems.
Side effects of drug derangement syndrome may include violent behavior, delusions, nightmares, insomnia, irrational hatred, hopelessness, anxiety, depression, blue hair, tantrums, inability to form coherent speech, difficulty maintaining gainful employment, and verbal diarrhea.
There's no cure in sight.